how are you all? I hope you're doing well. We're going to talk about Nicki Minaj today. I'm sure you've heard about her. She has been in the news a lot the past few days, and it started over her cousin's friend's testicles. Ballgate is what she's calling it. We're in day 3 or 4 of Ballgate, and those are Nicki's words. Now, I don't know if a lot of you know who she is. She's a rapper, and you might not agree with a lot of what she says, a lot of what she does. You might not even like her music, but that's not the point. And she actually makes this point later on in one of the tweets that we're going to read, that you don't have to agree with someone on everything. You don't have to follow everything they do, or like everything they do, to be able to say, hey, you made a good point there. I think the point you're making is good. Or be able to recognize when someone is being brave, which I think she is being very brave right now, and going out of the approved narrative and taking backlash. And she's not backing down. That is the coolest thing. And if you were around for the last video I made about Gavin Newsom, this is what I was talking about. I have so many commentators that I follow that will say, you will not believe these celebrities that reach out to me and say, I agree with you, I just can't say anything. Or, and that is the problem. Nobody is brave enough to get out and say something that goes against the narrative. And the more people like her that we have, the more it's going to hopefully have a domino effect. And it's not that people need to think this way or that way. It's just we need to be able to have discourse and be able to have conversations without getting over emotional or trying to ban or cancel people. Just like with the recent election in California, Gavin Newsom has destroyed the state of California. Even in their campaigning to keep him as governor, they could not think of one good thing that he did for the state. He got away. Larry Elder would have been the first black governor, but people are so brainwashed into associating him with Trump. They are so brainwashed into thinking that Republicans are bad, that Gavin Newsom, the epitome of privilege, got away with saying a vote for Larry Elder is a vote against diversity and racial justice. And Larry Elder grew up in South Central LA. His dad was a janitor, came from nothing, doing something. He is for school choice, which you want to talk about low education and high crime, low income areas. School choice will change that tremendously. Those moms, those single moms that are trying to raise their kids in these areas will be able to say, no, I don't want my kid to go to that gang ridden school. No, I don't want my kid to go to that school where no one is up to grade level reading. I want my kid to go to a good school, which was what Obama did, which is what a lot of people did. Gavin Newsom is owned by the teachers union. He doesn't want school choice. He's owned by the union. But people thought they were doing the right and moral thing and accepted all of this absurdity because there is one approved narrative, and people have been conditioned and brainwashed to go along with that narrative. And if you deviate, they get emotional and they stop having rational thought. And that is what this whole story is about. So Nicki Minaj, she's a rapper. I used to listen to her music. I just haven't recently. I have a love-hate relationship with her because a long time ago when I was living in Denver, I joined a Zumba class. It's a workout, like dance class. And I really liked this class because they played a lot of hip-hop and pop songs. And one of the songs they played was Nicki Minaj, Pound the Alarm. And I had gone so many times that I basically memorized all the steps to, or all the moves to that song. And one day I was having a get together at my house with some friends of mine, and we were eating and drinking. This is a cautionary tale, by the way. I was tipsy, I was a lot tipsy, and I was wearing heels, and Pound the Alarm came on. I was playing music and the song came on, and I made an announcement and forced everyone at my house to look at me while I showed off my dance moves. And about 4 moves in, I fell and I sprained my ankle and couldn't even walk the rest of the party. And I was on crutches for 2 days. So that's my love-hate with Nicki Minaj. Anyway, I just couldn't, I thought of that as soon as I started working on this story. But what we're going to do is we're just going to go through this story of the banning of Nicki and look at some of her tweets, because she says some pretty profound things through all of this. And basically, how all of this started was Nicki Minaj was just tweeting. She tweeted, she has a lot of conversations back and forth on her Twitter, and she was tweeting about a friend of her cousin who took the vaccine and then later on had some things happen to his testicles, which she didn't make the connection that that was because of the vaccine, and I don't think it was, but she was just telling a personal story. Later on, people were asking, Nicki, why haven't you traveled or done any shows the past year? And she was saying, well, I have a young child at home. I've been staying home with my young child. And then they were asking, Nicki, why didn't you go to the Met Gala? And she said, well, they have this mandate there and I'm home with my child. I think she said that maybe she didn't have it yet. And she was just like, pray, make your own choice after you pray and search within yourself. And by the way, if you look in the history of her Twitter, she's always been pro-vaccine. She's actually encouraged people to go out and get it. So this isn't someone who's anti anything. She just simply said, pray and make your own choice in a very conversational way. Well, right after this happened, the media just had a crap storm and so many stories came out. Joy Reid came out and said, how dare she say that? They were twisting her words around and people were accusing her of giving misinformation. By the way, I'm so tired of people saying misinformation, for people just having conversations and talking about stories that happen to people they know. To me, that is not misinformation. That's having a conversation. And we're allowed to do that. They did the same exact thing to Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan was the same. He was just asking questions and having conversations. And that's not even okay anymore to these people. But again, accused of misinformation. To me, misinformation is like, these are the facts, people, and this is what you need to do. By the way, anyone that gets their medical advice from a rapper or Joe Rogan, who's a comedian, like, who are these people? You shouldn't be listening to these people. You shouldn't listen to me. You shouldn't listen to a YouTuber. You shouldn't listen to an anchor. You should listen to your doctor. And that's it. But that's where the story was. And she started, pointing this out on her Twitter. So let's look at a little bit. We're just going to kind of go through this and what happened with Nicki. Okay. So here she is calling out some of these outlets who basically twisted around what she said. So this is Nicki Minaj on her Twitter. 3 lies in a row from huge news platforms. I cited my young child as why I didn't want to travel, but notice how none of them mentioned that. Ask yourself why that was. So you have USA Today, Yahoo News. Who is this? The Daily Beast. All of it. Okay, so what happened next was Tucker Carlson picked up the story and had a short segment about Nicki, and he just said, you know what, this is what happens. They don't want questions asked. They want to bully you into doing what they tell you to do, and now they're bullying Nicki for asking questions. And she tweeted this out, as you can see, and put a bullseye emoji next to it. And here's going back to the original point. You can not agree with everything somebody says or does, but when they make a good point or when they give you a good defense and they're spot on, why can you not point that out? Well, she says it quite well later on. So somebody tweeted at her, he's a white supreme sandwich, right? Or a white nationalist, right? First of all, he's not. And I would love to see the evidence otherwise. And she retweets that and says this. She says, right, I can't speak to, agree with, even look at someone from a particular political party. People aren't human anymore. If you're black and a Democrat tells you to shove marbles up your butt, you simply have to. If another party tells you to look out for that bus, stand there and get it and get hit, she says. So basically she's telling you, so just because you don't agree with him, if he's like, hey, there's a bus coming, you have to just stand there and let the bus hit you. Meanwhile, your other party tells you to do something ridiculous and you're just going to do it simply because that's where your allegiance is. And this is what I've always said too. You should never, ever have a blind allegiance to any political party or any ideal or any person. This is the result of that. But it gets better. Her and some of her followers just say some really interesting things. Okay, so after a few of these exchanges, and that's probably about the worst of the exchanges she had, she's basically just defending herself and saying, I never said these things, but eventually she got banned on Twitter. I don't know how long the ban was, if it was like a 24-hour ban or a week-long ban, I have no idea. But that is what happened, and she put this on her Instagram stories. She says, I'm in Twitter jail, y'all. They didn't like what I was saying over there on that block. I guess my poll was gonna be, asking questions is okay. I like being effing dumb. Then boom, can't tweet. So the point she's making in that is she was just asking questions. And she got banned for asking questions and having a conversation. And I want to show you a few things. These are from her followers that she put on her Instagram stories. I feel like they made some really good points. So this person says, Nicki Minaj just giving the whole world the true embodiment of a free black woman in America. Many of you cannot see through your emotional blinders and leash tied to one idea and generations of conditioning. Right is right regardless of who is saying it. It's not selective. I love that. Here's another one that she retweeted. People are truly missing the point because they've made this topic so sensational that people just immediately get emotional and can't think straight. They are silencing anyone who says anything other than get the shot. That is very scary where this is heading. I agree. This is what we've been saying for a long time. And Nicki Minaj just speaking her mind, and she's not backing down. And E! News picked it up, and it says, blocked for being effing dumb on my page. Who's next? Day 3 of Ballgate has begun. That's where I got that. Oh my gosh. So after this is where it gets really interesting. She did an Instagram live. By the way, you can go to her Instagram and see all of this. You can go to her Twitter and see even more of her tweets and what happened with all of this. So this is a screenshot from her Instagram live. And in this, she was talking about a while back when she was on tour or traveling. I believe she was on tour. Correct me if I'm wrong. But she was traveling, doing work in China. I think she was on tour. So she's in China on tour, and she's told when she arrives in China, this is in China you cannot speak out against certain things, I guess the regime or anything else along those lines. So she was told that when she arrived in China, and she said, okay, I understand, that's their culture, this is this country, but she compares China now to the USA and says, I never thought this would be the norm now in the USA. This is what they do in China, and this is wild. All right, this is the last thing that I'm going to read to you that was posted on Nicki's stories. And she said, y'all got to stop pretending to love people with backbones. If Malcolm X were here, he'd be asking questions. And most of y'all that holler Black Lives Matter and protect black women would be telling him to shut up and fall in line. Y'all say these people's names, but embody the spirit of a coward. Wow. Hope you all enjoyed all of that. I love what she said. I'm going to stay up to date on this and what happens with Nicki. I respect her for not backing down. I respect her for speaking her mind. And I watched Tim Pool's coverage on this earlier today, and I wanted to highlight this as well. Nicki seems to be someone who, again, I don't know a lot about her, but she seems to be someone with integrity. She actually canceled a concert in Saudi Arabia because of their treatment of women and LGBTQ community. So this is someone who is brave, who stands her ground, and clearly has integrity when it comes to her moral beliefs and doesn't back down from them. And I respect that. I think we need more people like her. And I'm going to piggyback off what Tim Pool said as well. I think we are lucky to have her as such an influential celebrity in our country, and I'm rooting for her. It's the same with Rose McGowan. There's so much that I don't know about her and that she probably believes in that I don't believe in, but I respect the bravery. I respect anyone who's willing to step outside of that approved narrative and speak their mind and be strong. And not back down from it. We need more like that. And another reason I like to highlight these stories is because when you have one, it gives someone else a little bit of that courage to maybe speak up for themselves. But anyway, let me know what you think about all of this, and I'll see you all later. Bye.